Hello everyone, Jaguar here, and welcome to Pairi Daiza. I'm joined by Iben today.
Hello.
And we are going to have a look at the brand new area of Pairi Daiza, Edenya. Yesterday, Iben and I went to Pairi Daiza along with some other friends of mine, and it was the opening day of Edenya, which you could definitely notice. But yeah, we're skipping straight ahead. Edenya can be found right across from the red pandas, and here is the beautiful gate that lets us inside.
I really like it, and there was a bit of a controversy that they supposedly had torn down a large part of the old abbey wall, but I must admit,
it's a gate.
It's a gate, yeah.
So one thing that's worth pointing out over here is that there is a secondary queue and tickets check, because Edenya is an upcharge compared to the rest of the zoo, so you have to buy an additional ticket and book a time slot. I think I'll get into my opinions on that later on. Let's just jump ahead and go into Edenya for now, which, as you can see, is enormous as we're walking alongside it over here. So we've got a massive gate that lets us inside. This is honestly like Planet Zoo scale almost. Like, it feels completely oversized. So it's good that there's people here to show you how incredibly big it actually is. Because I think a big issue with videos that we saw online of this place is that it was completely empty and it just looked kind of off. But now with people in there,
it's the big thing that I felt like we told almost everyone so far. The scale in the videos and in the pictures doesn't really work with what it's like in real life. It doesn't capture it well. And I really hope that all the footage that you made does actually kind of capture it well. Yeah, or if it's just a problem of the video indeed.
Anyway, as we are coming into Edenya itself on the inside, we are immediately inside of a habitat, because the lemurs of the kind of dry forest area can actually get down to the entrance square and can get right up to you, which is absolutely insane. We thought that this was like that they escaped their habitat or something, but no, they're actually supposed to be able to get here. What you also see is that a lot of people are storing their items here, mostly because I think the lockers were not available yet. I'm not sure if the people that stored their items here realized that the lemurs can get down here, and that the things that they stored their jackets on are the misters, so a lot of these jackets got very wet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first enclosure beside the lemur that we see is this Komodo dragon enclosure over here, which exists.
Which is terrible. It's terrible. Like, we're going to be positive about a lot of things in this video, but this exhibit is one of the few actual terrible ones.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of space, it's much bigger than you'd think, because if you're there, it looks a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's far away from you as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
It's slightly bigger than their previous enclosure, I do think. But other than that, it's not really an upgrade for them. It's bland, there's not a lot going on.
There's a lazy river in front of it, which we'll rant about later in this video, most likely.
We have plenty of spots to rant about the lazy river, which is.
But I think in this area, it's the worst one. It obstructs the entire viewing area. It's not a good starting point, but luckily, when you turn around and you face the dry forest area, that quickly changes.
Yeah, things get a lot better moving forward. So let's do just that. So you can get to the dry forest by going up some stairs. But luckily for the lesser able, there is also a ramp going up to this place. So pretty much all of Edenya is very accessible, either through ramps or elevators. That's really nice.
Yes.
Alongside this ramp, you also get a view into one of the enclosures in the dry forest area, which looks very strange from over here, but as we'll get further into the area, you'll see why it is built like that. Pretty much at the entrance over here, we can see some beautiful desert roses, but also the backstages for most of the animals here. Now, it's kind of strange that we start off with the backstages, but I actually realized later on, if you follow the recommended walking route, which didn't exist yet while we were here, they were still setting it up. This is the end of the walking route, basically. So the final thing you'll see is these lemur enclosures. and not all the lemurs are in the enclosures yet. The crowned lemur and the red-bellied lemur are still in their backstages. After we move past that, we're getting into probably one of Eben's favorite parts about this.
Yes, I think for me this area, it has very quickly, almost instantly, became my favorite fossa and my favorite lemur exhibit that I've ever seen in real life. It's so cool.
Yeah, so from this cave we get a view of the fossa, which we could also get a little bit of a view of as we entered. If you look through all the cacti and stuff, there you actually have a open view, whereas from the cave, of course, you're looking through glass. But the fossa here are like when we visited, they were so active and climbing all over the place. It was so much fun being here on kind of day one. All the animals are still exploring their spaces, and it's really, really cool. So over here we already have the second viewing area of the fossa, which across from that, to my annoyance, is the Galago exhibit, which this has been pointed out by many people already, but it's just so poorly designed. I can't wrap my head around why they thought this was a good idea. It's right across from this other window, so you have all these reflections, and it's impossible to look inside because this is a dark exhibit, which it should be if you want to see the Galago, which we did see at the end of the day. But yeah, it's it's really badly done. This is the worst part of this area. Yeah.
Yeah. It luckily that's the worst part of this area, and it's a reflection issue. So for me, that's like, if that's the worst issue of this area, then okay, fine, I can live with it. It's not great, but there are worse things.
It's so avoidable.
Yeah, it's avoidable.
That's what frustrates me about it. And then the Galago exhibit itself is just fine. It's okay exhibit. But yeah, as we come out of that cave, we are in the real dry forest area. And here you can see some of the animals that are in that thing that we saw through the glass. We have the banded mongoose, which moved here from the kind of Africa village of Pairi Daiza. You can see they're already digging under their backstage, so they didn't protect that very well. But this exhibit is kind of sunken down into the cacti forest over here, and it kind of weaves between all the areas, and you cross it several times as a visitor. It's kind of fun how it's integrated. But the best part about this area by far is the lemurs.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the vines, and this is something that we'll probably mention again later on in this video. The vines are really, really well done. They are obviously, like, once you see them attached in other spaces, you'll quickly realize that they're fake, but they really don't feel fake when you're walking around in this area.
Yeah, it's super
which
well
I
done.
really liked.
Yeah, and yeah, here you can see into this larger enclosure a lot more. We only saw the banded mongoose, but this enclosure is supposedly also going to house African spurred tortoise, fennec fox, and brush-tailed porcupine, which I think is a little much for what we have here, especially since the lemurs also really like to climb inside of this place, which not sure if they're supposed to be doing that either.
I've wondered if it's going to be a rotational thing. If they're just going to let the fennec foxes out one day and like the banded mongoose, and that would be nice enrichment because there's all these new smells.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Kind of the downside of the day one opening, I guess, is we have no idea whether animals are still missing or if there's just a setup like this.
There's a specific spot.
Yeah, this over here.
Yeah.
Very deliberately designed, where we can see the tower of Pairi Daiza through the rocks here, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, the moment I saw that, I was like, go on, stand right here, and now turn this way. And you were like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
really.
one thing that I also want to mention is there are a whole bunch of red pebbles over here. And before, when it was announced, I saw a lot of people who were like, oh, I don't know if that's going to look good, but I must admit, I kind of expected the thing would happen that happened, is that there's a bunch of dust on them, and they quickly collect dust, and it doesn't feel that red anymore.
Yeah, I do wonder,
I think it looks...
with lemurs coming about and maybe knocking them away, I don't know how many guests are going to take a rock or two here and there. So I wonder how many rocks will be left eventually. That will be interesting to see. There's also this one path where there's a bunch of smaller cacti like alongside the path, which I don't know how long they are gonna survive. Like I don't see that going well.
Yeah, I know.
Very long. So there's definitely some things that will be interesting to see develop in this area, but only time can tell in that sense. And yeah, in the distance, on the lower part, we can see the huge ass fucking cactus that they put, which I'm gonna put me beside for a bit of skill reference over here, so that you can see how absolutely enormous this thing is, because this also doesn't translate well in videos, I don't think. It's insane.
Yeah, when you were standing next to it, I wanted to like walk backwards to show you people how big it was to finally get it in frame. And every few seconds I had to look back and I was like, wait, I still haven't got it in frame, and I'm like almost at the staircases.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous in all the best ways.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, this is definitely the highlight of Edenya almost, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So off to a great start. The next area we're visiting wasn't completely done yet, but as we crossed this bridge, there was a sign at the start of the bridge saying, "Warning, free-roaming spiders." And we were like, wait, what? Especially since we're just crossing a bridge onto an area.
For those who are watching, the spiders weren't there yet, so you don't have to skip the video.
Don't worry. The spiders are coming soon, like many of the things in Edenya, sadly. But yeah, this is not the first zoo to do something like this. The Zoo of Cologne also has a walkthrough spider exhibit, but there it's a glass box that you go inside of. Here it's just an island in the middle of nowhere, and I have no idea how it's going to function. But it'll definitely be interesting to see.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I guess that they thought of a way to contain them.
Yeah, or the spiders just aren't known to move much, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
so they'll just stay in their web and not pose any issues. So again, it'll be interesting to see. We can't pass judgment on it yet because it's not done.
A thing that might be interesting to point out now, we're at one of the highest points in the entire greenhouse, and at this point the roof is quite noticeable. It is a big web of things, pun not intended, but very happy that it happened. But you don't notice it as much when you're actually walking inside of it. Your brain really quickly filters it out. Yeah,
at the start you do, but eventually it's there all the time, and you filter it out indeed. We're already in our next area, another walkthrough exhibit, and from here on our left we can see into the exhibit of the pygmy hippo, red river hog, drill, and the Brezza monkey. Now we only really saw the pygmy hippos.
And the Brezza monkey at one point.
Yeah, and the Brezza monkey near the end of the day.
Yeah.
One thing that you aren't a fan of, especially with these houses over here, is that you're just looking straight into people's bedrooms, which is very apparent.
Yeah, it's really obvious. However, I think this is the one area in the entire greenhouse that will probably be the most jungly.
Yeah. So once the plants grow in here, likely they'll cover up most of those windows.
Yeah. It's maybe good to say this ahead of time before you watch the entire video. This is not supposed to be like a Gondwana land or a Burgers Bush, where where the entire greenhouse is one big rainforest. They obviously weren't trying to do that, and this is like the only area, and at least in my opinion, that I think will actually feel like a rainforest. I think most of the other areas will always be more open than this area.
Yeah, this and maybe the canyon area, which we'll get to. So we already mentioned the lazy river a bit, and this is another part where you can see it quite prominently as it's going underneath us past a number of enclosures. This thing goes throughout the entire greenhouse, giving you probably some really cool views into the enclosures. It's just, why? it's. We talked about this right before we started recording as well, but
I genuinely hope that in a year or two they realize that that was a mistake and that they just use all the space of it to just make paths where you can walk in, because if it's just a path for visitors, it's a really cool path to walk on. I think you can get like really cool views, and it will help a lot more with the capacity of the entire building.
It will create some cool shortcuts, and
yeah,
I don't see myself going into a lazy river, especially during opening hours of the park.
If it's possible to do it after opening hours, then I might do it simply because I want to see what you get to see when you're on on the lazy river, because there are some really nice viewing points. But that's the only reason why I would do it, because I know myself and I wouldn't feel comfortable at all being in those lazy rivers with all those people around
Hundreds
me.
of people looking at you,
Yeah, no. I can barely be on camera, let alone be in a lazy river like this.
As I said, we are in a walk-through Squirrel Monkey enclosure, and around us you can also see all of these bungalows on stilts. These are, I think, one of the first times that you're like in your bungalow inside of a walk-through habitat, apart from the deer in the Last Frontier.
Correct.
Little bit more skeptical about it here, especially as we go up here on this back path again. We're going to circle around and kind of do a little bit of a figure eight almost around this Squirrel Monkey exhibit. But because over here we can see the Squirrel Monkeys like going right up to the front doors of people. And I'm just 99% sure there is going to be people that will let the Squirrel Monkeys enter their homes.
Yeah, and each of the houses has a balcony that is luckily it's netted. It's netted off, but it's not netted off in a way that I think it will stop children or even adults trying to feed some of the monkeys.
Yeah, or pet, or
Like in concept, it sounds nice, and in a blue sky meeting, that might sound as an incredible experience, but it's one of those things where I feel like if you think about it for like half an hour longer, you quickly realize that it's not going to work. And I don't know.
There's too many videos of these Chinese parks where, the red pandas can enter your house, that I think people are going to be trying to recreate what they saw on social media here, even if they know it's not allowed. And it's not going to be good for the animals. I don't know. I'm very skeptical about this.
Yeah.
It's a shame. As we get to the end of this area, we have one more exhibit that we kind of passed on earlier, which is the Gharial exhibit. Now, the Gharial exhibit is definitely still under construction. There's going to be, by the looks of it, a big waterfall as we come down these stairs, but that was not turned on yet. The spray concrete isn't painted in everywhere yet. There's no water in here, and no Gharials to be seen either, obviously. But this is a pretty cool enclosure in the sense that it's completely open with this kind of mesh fence going alongside it. That's kind of something you would see in Asian countries for their Gharial habitats, and it's kind of cool that we have that in this greenhouse now. I kind of like that. But I'm curious to see if we're going to have the Gharials from the Middle Kingdom move into this exhibit, or if it's going to be like if they're going to get some new bigger Gharials, because the enclosure is definitely very big for the ones that the zoo has currently.
Yeah.
Now, as we move back into the Squirrel Monkey enclosure, back towards the staircase that we went down, we see a new enclosure on our left, which I personally did not realize as we were walking on that elevated path, that there was an enclosure right below us. But this is going to be the enclosure for the Red Duiker, the Kirk's Dik Dik, and for God knows what reason, the Lowland Paka as well.
Ooh, why the fuck are they together with those?
Yeah, I talked about it. In this case, it just feels like, okay, we have this animal, we'll put it in here. Yeah. I'm not going to say that Pairi Daiza did this intentionally. However, I would like the concept of an exhibit like that, with the idea of, okay, you put a bunch of animals together from different areas in the world, as long as they are able to live together and don't fight. Then you can highlight, hey, these are the similarities between these animals. This is because of evolution. It's like it would be a cool educational concept, but at the same time, that's not something that Pairi Daiza would do.
Also, it's interesting how the lazy river really goes alongside this habitat. I wonder how that's going to work.
I bet that there's still going to be fences.
Maybe it's just not finished. We didn't see any of the animals in here either. So
there is one thing that I still want to point out. There's these massive fossilized logs.
Yes, they are super cool.
It's so cool. We walked past them and it only clicked when we're like past it like the second time, I believe.
Yeah, well, at first we were like, oh yeah, just put down some big tree trunks, so it's theming, and then we realized it's fossilized logs, and we were like, oh, that's actually really cool.
Really, really cool.
Overall, I think this is a really nice area, the one for the squirrel monkeys, and I can't wait to see it grown in. And it sucks that it's going to take like maybe 2-3 years for it to really reach its full potential. But this is definitely going to be the most jungly part of the whole greenhouse. Then, moving from the squirrel monkeys, we are going to stay off of that elevated path for a bit, and we are going to continue on down below over here. So here we have a window that goes kind of into the outside part of Edenya, which isn't there yet. And yeah, we have another entrance to the lazy river as well. It will be interesting. You have so many entrances and exits to it. Like, are there just going to be people walking around in their swimsuits around all of Edenya?
Yeah. I think it's probably because of rules and regulations. I think these things are probably quite strict.
Yeah.
Also, I also want to mention that there's not a lot of information on possible outdoor stuff. There seem to be quite a few rumors about outdoor areas for the animals, and at least the Jaguar exhibit does kind of feel like it's going to have an outdoor area, but like we can't confirm anything at this point.
Here, I always like the thing Pairi Daiza does with the rockwork and the roots.
Yeah.
I think it's executed a bit better in the Land of the Cold around the tigers, but here it still works relatively well. And I really like over here how the netting into the butterfly exhibit that we're about to enter is almost invisible. What's more visible and also not working very well are these chains over here. They are not doing a great job at keeping the butterflies out. So you can often find some blue morphos flying around all over the place. And I'm not sure if that's just a calculated loss or if they are going to improve that in the future.
I'm gonna start off by saying something controversial. I didn't really like this area that much.
Really? I quite liked it.
I like the way it looks, but I don't know. I think maybe it's because there weren't any free-flying birds at all currently. Again, the moment the Edenya opened, I wanted a walk-through aviary more, a bird one more than one for butterflies. Yeah,
in that I can understand that. I will say I really like the look of this place. I like the kind of valley. I like all of the plants sloping up alongside you. Maybe it's a nice break from all of the rock work all around Edenya, that you have some more of a lush valley kind of enclosure over here.
Yeah, it still has to grow in like many other areas of Edenya.
Like all of Edenya.
There's areas where I feel it's less of an issue, but especially in here, it did feel. You can still see a lot of the pipes and the hoses, which I didn't like as much.
But now you do have a great view of all those beautiful amethysts.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, moving to the next exhibit. As we come out of the butterfly exhibit, we are right away greeted by the Jaguar enclosure.
Yeah, speaking of things I didn't like.
This one's... It looks pretty cool. I don't know how big it is. It's hard to tell once again because there's no Jaguar in here, but it doesn't look super big.
It doesn't look super big, and I talked about it with another zoo YouTuber. Yeah. There is so little climbing frames here. Like
I didn't even think about that.
There's just the one log. There's the one tree that both of us know it isn't going to survive. Like it's gonna be torn to shreds by the big cats. It's Yeah, I don't like it, and it's been such a long time since I saw a jaguar in zoos. Like the Zoo of Antwerp, I believe, used to have them like ages ago, and they have been one of my favorite animals for so long. So I'm really disappointed by it. Yeah, it's not my favorite exhibit.
But hey, we have a really big waterfall. That's something.
Yeah, a 17-meter high waterfall, I believe,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool and something worth mentioning. The entire system of Edenya is a net zero system, so all the electricity comes from the solar panels of the parking lot. All the water comes from collecting rainwater on the roof of Edenya. Like the waterfall is actually done using rainwater that fell on the roof. It's really cool, and it's something worth pointing out because it's not something that you see when you're actually walking
as
in
a
there.
guest. Yeah. But yeah, I hope the outdoor enclosure will improve things for them. If that is going to be a thing, I really hope so.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, coming out of the Jaguar enclosure, we were starting to get a bit hungry. So we went off to the sandy beach area over here. We just passed the manatee enclosure, and now we're gonna get some food at the Sandy Beach Bar and Restaurant. This is currently kind of the main place you can get food in Edenya, at least until the restaurant opens. And here they serve a bunch of different salads, poke bowls, and pizzas. That is basically your food choices over here. Yeah. This place will also be used for the resort breakfast, if I believe.
Yes, the resort breakfast and the evening dinner.
And yeah, good luck finding a spot on a busy day here. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, and in general, and I think I actually spotted a bunch of people from the zoo putting down extra benches. There are not a lot of benches in Edenya right now. Finding spots to sit was really difficult, even just in general, but especially when we were trying to have lunch.
But yeah, above the dining area, we have the plane.
Yeah, and
very prominent feature.
I thought it was going to bother me, and it doesn't bother me that much. I actually think it would.
Like it.
I think it would have looked empty without it. So yeah, I think I love it as well.
And it's a nice waypoint for parents to like tell your kids like, okay, meet me at the plane if you get lost. Yeah, no, it works. I like it.
Yeah, me too.
The food also was pretty good, by the way. The pizzas were nice. I was told the poke bowls were nice.
Yeah.
So that's something. From the food court, we are going to take some stairs down to the left of the Sandy Beach restaurant. And this takes us underground, where we can look at the big aquariums for both the manatee, but also the sharks, from underwater. Now, the only problem, there were no manatee and there were no sharks.
Yeah.
And also over here is where you would find the Abyss restaurant, but that was also still under construction. So no eating there yet.
This is one of the areas that I really wonder, how is this going to work? Like, I really like these underwater views. I know it's not for everyone. I really like the sunken city effect. Again, fully aware that's not for everyone. Some people really just want the very natural thing. I really like this. But this is like the only real viewing area for both of these aquariums. Yeah. Like there's one more for the manatees somewhere tucked away, but it's not that big and you can't see that much. And like,
no, you can't see the main enclosure from there either.
Yeah.
You see the bit that's like behind that medical thing.
Yeah, and it's like, that's, in a way, that's a good thing, because the manatees will have a lot of space where they can get away from guests, and that's a good thing, and the same goes for like the sharks and all the other fish. But the entire viewing area for these two aquariums, like the main one, is above the restaurant. Like,
yeah, and inside the restaurant.
Yeah, basically inside the restaurant. It's how is that going to work? How is it going to be fun to sit there and have lunch or have dinner?
Oh, it's going to be so loud.
Exactly, when there's so many people standing on top of you and making so much noise.
And in most of this footage, it was pretty okay standing here. But this was in the morning. During the day, as more of the time slots unlock and more people flow into Edenya, this place was getting more and more crowded, and it's not going to be fun in here.
No.
It just isn't. This is also because people can come into this room from two sides. It's just going to be a congestion point. I can already tell.
Yeah, it's one of those areas that I would change, and I would get rid of the restaurant. But I know that they won't do that. But it's just something will have to give. Either they have to remove the restaurant, or they have to open up at least one of the hotel rooms so that you get extra viewing areas.
Yeah, and that's what I really expected there to be. Like when we went into the hotel area, I expected there to be a viewing point in between all the hotel rooms, because that's what they always do.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Even in Edenya, that's what they did with the pygmy hippo, with the otter.
Which is a good thing, because then you can't let people go inside of the hotel rooms at all time, because there's people staying in there. But you also want to give them an idea of what is it going to be like when I'm inside of a hotel room. What am I going to see? And these two areas really lack that, and that's a shame.
One thing, and then we're done talking about the Shark Tank. What I really like here is that you can already see this school of fish swimming around in the background. Now, I've only really ever been to one aquarium that had a big school of schooling fish in a shark tank, and that was the Paris Aquarium, and it was so freaking cool to see the fish schooling around and darting away from the sharks. So I think that's going to be really amazing here, and I can't wait for there to be some actual sharks in here so that you can see that.
Same.
So going back into the main hallway, that got us into this. Over here we have that one viewing area of the manatee that's very limited, and I don't even think there's water in there yet. And now we're gonna head down some more stairs to a level below. Over there is the entrance of the Abyss restaurant, which of course is closed off. There's some really nice art along the walls here, I have to say. I do really like this stuff. But the main draw why you would want to come down here and go in between all the people's hotel rooms is that you can find an underwater view of the sea turtle enclosure in here. These guys moved here from the other aquarium, right?
Yeah, I think so. At least one of them did. It is such an improvement over the aquarium that they had in the aquarium building. This is, it doesn't look that big, but it's bigger than you think, and it is like quite deep.
As you can see, they share the space with... Why can I not come up
More
with
eels.
More eels, thank you. We counted like 15 of those,
Yes.
which is pretty insane as well. So that's really cool. Something worth pointing out here as well is that the entire walls are lined with seashells, which is a really cool detail.
Yeah.
That was very cute. I wonder how durable those are and how long that's going to go well. The only thing here, indeed, and I will agree with you on that, is the space feels quite empty around it, especially this long hallway. And it really does feel like you're just walking through the hotel area and like you're maybe not really supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Which would have been avoided if they had created another viewing area into the shark tank or something along those lines. It's this very Pairi Daiza thing of I'm walking in the resort area now.
Yeah,
and
but
that's something I don't like in the Land of the Cold.
Yeah, but
either,
I think in the Land of the
personally.
Cold, you're not really thinking about, oh, hey, I'm walking through the hotel area. I'm walking through an actual mine shaft. How cool is this?
Yeah.
And in this,
It's also a bit easier to avoid there.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah. If you put in a few statues, if you put in a little bit more artwork and maybe a plant or two, I think you're gonna get far.
But as we come out of this little mineshaft cave area, we can see the sea turtles once again, but now from above water, which is really, really cool. So they do have quite a lot of verticality here, like at least 2 floors worth, basically.
And they have a little
that's really
beach
cool.
area, which is not something that a lot of zoos have.
No, indeed. And in the back, there is also a grate that I think connects this to the shark tank. So I wonder if that is a potential thing that they might be able to access at some point in the future.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but the option is there, I think.
Yeah.
So now we are kind of coming up on the beach, and we have some more shallower kind of reef exhibits with all kinds of reef fish. On the map, this is where you see the little icon of the clownfish. And these are nice, but we're not a big fan of these cables.
Yeah, no. This is like the worst version of piano wire. It's like not necessary at all. Just raise the freaking glass.
Just raise the glass.
It's not that difficult.
And then the next exhibit is also a very interesting one. We have a coconut crab algebra giant tortoise exhibit over here. And boy, do I love seeing coconut crab. They are really not that common, and it's really amazing. But I have so many questions here.
For everyone watching, we know that we knew as a group that he liked the coconut crabs. I think we lost you here like several times.
They're so cool.
Yeah,
but this
so
exhibit,
it's weird.
It's weird. It's a weird mix, first of all. Apparently it's been done before, so maybe it's not that big of an issue. But it's open-topped. It's going to be really hard for them to keep the parameters for the coconut crab right, like humidity and stuff like that. Like if they are going to start molting, that can really give issues. I've been told they're quite good escape artists, so having them in an open-top enclosure is a big risk. So we'll see how this develops over time, I suppose, once again.
For me, I think I really like the idea, and I think if they would take out the tortoise and move the tortoise to the area where you had the manatee elevator
Beach.
thingy, then the tortoises would have a lot more space, because I do feel like they barely got any space here. I know
it
there's
feels
other
like
zoos.
an indoor enclosure that should be supplemented with an outdoor enclosure.
Yeah, exactly. And I know there's zoos that have them in this size of enclosure, but like you have another part of this greenhouse where
I'd
you
expect
put them.
more from a zoo like Pairi Daiza.
Yeah, and I feel like again, and this is one of my main criticisms of Edenya right now. So few furnishing,
bland.
it's
very
just
bland.
sand. It's just sand all the time, and I feel like if you still want to have the tortoises in here, I get that you need to give them space, but just then put in some rocks, okay? And if you move them, put in rocks, put in trees, like branches and stuff, so that the coconut crab has things to climb on. This could be a really cool coconut crab exhibit if it was just coconut crabs. But
Yeah.
end of my rant on the coconut crabs.
Well, let's move on then, because across from the coconut crab is the most dangerous exhibit of all, as you put it.
Yes, it's the most dangerous
The
exhibit.
gift shop. Very dangerous for your wallet. Because of course, the one thing that is finished on opening day is all of the Edenya merchandise, because they have to make money. And what my friends pointed out here is how much bird merchandise is in here.
Yeah, and I can actually, I am one of those people who was trapped by this gift shop.
Iben, what's in there?
Too much stuff.
Iben?
And I bought the guide, the new zoo guide, and
Oh, I
there is
haven't read it
mentions. Yeah, there is mentions of birds, like the hyacinth macaw is mentioned in there. There's like other birds mentioned as free roaming birds. So like,
I guess that confirms that they are planning to do that.
I love how you
Sorry.
picked one of the magnets and just dropped the other one on the ground.
That magnet was awful. I bought it because it looks cool, but it's not strong enough to cling to the metallic surfaces. So as soon as I grabbed one, like half of them just fell off.
Oof.
It's really bad. But yeah, no, there is some really nice merch here. I ended up getting a magnet, a shirt, the guide, And pro tip, there's some pins which are like right here at the cash register. I don't think they're anywhere else in the gift shop, so they're easy to miss, but they look really cool.
And also, pro tip, become best friends with Goron and you'll get one for your birthday.
So that was it for the gift shop. Now we are moving on to a really cool area, in my opinion.
Yes.
We are walking into yet another walkthrough enclosure. And at first we have a really cool open-topped iguana enclosure over here. But I love the way that this enclosure slopes up. It's really cool.
Yeah.
We also got a nice jade iguana structure, I guess.
Yeah, I love that sculpture. It's amazing.
But the highlight of the area is the main resident, and we can see lots of vines and ropes going over top of us, because this is a sloth exhibit.
And it's immense.
It is
Like-
insanely big, yeah.
It's the biggest sloth exhibit. Like, okay, we've been to tropical houses where the sloth can, like, move through the
Free roam
entire tropical house.
Yeah.
But, like, this is a very, very long exhibit for sloths, and it's really cool, and they were very, very active.
Yeah.
Which maybe is a benefit of them having so much space.
It really surprised me how active they were on day one. I definitely expected them of all to kind of hide away a little bit. But yeah, you'll see, and when we get onto the rope bridge, you'll really get to see how big this enclosure actually is. But another open-topped enclosure over here as we come to kind of the middle of the sloth place, where you can find the radiated tortoise and another species from Madagascar. Up in this tree, you can actually find some panther chameleons, and I think this is really, really cool. First off.
Yeah.
I've read some people are criticizing this enclosure a little bit. They say the branches aren't thin enough for the chameleons to grab onto. I'm no chameleon expert, so I can't judge that. But I had an absolute blast watching the chameleon here. It's so nice to be able to watch them without any obstructions from glass or anything. This is the second open-topped chameleon enclosure I've seen, the other one being the one of Paris, the Paris Zoo, and I think I prefer this one. It looks a lot more naturalistic, even though the tree is very obviously fake. It's just really fun to see them traverse it. So,
Yeah. Another really cool thing is that this entire sloth exhibit is one big food forest. So there's a whole bunch of like fruit trees and like pineapple plants. Like every individual part has a little bit of information on it that I really like.
it's really nice. Yeah, it's definitely a unique enclosure in many ways. As we come out, we have another iguana sitting over here at the top of the iguana enclosure, which slopes up right until here, where you get another view, which is quite nice. And now we're already making our way to the exit of the sloth enclosure, at least one of the exits. The door over here doesn't seem to close on its own. It's a nice little problem that they're gonna have to solve. But now it's time we get to another one of the highlights of Edenya.
Yeah, this is one of the areas that we were worried about, I believe.
I was very worried about this enclosure,
Yeah.
for many reasons.
And honestly, seeing it in real life, it's a lot longer, it's a lot wider than I expected. Like, there's like 3 islands in here
I think 2 or 3, yeah.
that are all connected. It's really, really cool. And there's this entire cave system where you can...
Yeah, there's this entire cave system underneath it, and definitely go down here, because this is where you're gonna get the best views of the animals, because you're gonna be more at their level. And this is also where you can find the blacksmith lapwing over here, which, is not really a free-flying bird. I don't think these guys will fly anywhere. But what's really cool here is Iben noticed something.
Yes, so there's a bunch of rocks here, which is really cool. But a bunch of these rocks are actually like fragments of a temple. And that's like a little detail that I freaking love. I actually pointed it out to you, like, record that so we can talk about it in the video.
Yeah, I also love the waterfall over here. That's a really striking one. And the views you get over here of the enclosure really sell it and sell the side of it, because of how far you can see into it when you're looking at it from the side over here. So this is a really cool viewing point. Definitely check it out. I will say, just like with the sharks, we were expecting there to also be a viewing point for regular day visitors in the middle between all the hotel rooms, which are in the side of this wall. So we entered the kind of resort tunnel over here, which also does look really cool, granted. But yeah, I expected somewhere at the halfway point over here to have another viewing point into the enclosure, but sadly there is none.
There's these two areas where there's a quote-unquote skylight above you, and I was expecting those areas to indeed have like a view into the animal side, because one big downside again is that you can really look into people's hotel rooms, and I feel like other parts of the park really do a better job at hiding the hotel rooms from people. I fully understand why the hotel rooms are there. It is a practice that many zoos have had over the past decade. More and more zoos are doing it because it's a good way of getting more income, and things are getting more and more expensive. But please make it so that people can't look inside of your room. That just...
Yeah, and make it not obstruct the day experience, because now the only really good views of this enclosure you get is on either side, and the rest of the views are just from top down, which is just a less ideal way of looking at the animals, in my opinion. Yeah, so as we come up from that viewing point, we are now at the elevated point on the other side of the enclosure. We're just going to make our way to the other side. Over here we can also see these misters in action.
These were the ones where people were hanging their clothes on, and this is the effect that you get. Like, it does spray quite a lot, so I don't know what happened with all the jackets.
It's really nice when you're hot, because you thought, I'm going to wear a sweater today, even though I'm going to be inside of a tropical house. But
it was really cold outside, so that's one of the... I think, like, I've seen people theorize that the lockers are there for, like, the swimming guests, but I genuinely think that the lockers are there specifically for that, because I think a lot of people will be outside when it rains and when it snows and when it's bad weather, and are going to go, I want to go into Edenya now. Where do I put my jacket? And the lockers will be used for that.
I was counting on the fact that the lockers would be available, so I could put away at least my winter coat, but no, I had to carry that all day, which was not ideal.
I know that a top view of animals isn't always the best, but man, it is a nice walkway. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
it's a really nice walkway. I think this one as well, when the plants grow in, is going to look phenomenal. I do like the fact that you get some really great views of the spider monkeys from up here.
It's a really cool enclosure, and like the combination of animals is going to be really, really cool. The main wolf weren't there yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing those animals.
Yeah. This enclosure is indeed going to have the main wolf, the spider monkey, South American tapirs, which we already saw, capybara, which we already saw, and the giant anteater will also be in here. But we only saw the tapir, capybara, and the spider monkeys for now.
A good thing to mention as well, we passed by a bunch of these statues. There were a whole bunch of sculptures all throughout the entire greenhouse, and in the marketing it did kind of feel like there was a very, very heavy emphasis on them, and we were kind of afraid that they would be everywhere, but they're very subtly placed. Except for instance, the Jaguar ones, they're not that subtle, but it is a nice activity to just go through the entire greenhouse and trying to spot all of the sculptures.
Yeah, I think there's like 31
cool.
of them.
Yeah.
And they are indeed replicas, they're not actual sculptures, from what I could read on the education sign about them. But yeah, they're a nice accent, and not really a main feature, so to say. So we are moving back into the sloth exhibit, and past the chameleons we have this little holding area for the flying foxes. Now this is not their enclosure, these are going to be free roaming eventually. You can find signs for them around the greenhouse. I wonder how it's gonna work.
Yeah, me too. But hey, I'm going to trust that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and then over here we got a nice little Coati enclosure. So this is not a walkthrough, and they have two sides of this little rope bridge that goes over to visitors, but the Coati cannot enter the visitor space. And it's a cute little enclosure. Actually, at least I say little. From here it looks relatively small, but if you look at it from up top, it's actually quite spacious as well.
Yeah, my only thing that and again, we're here again, the only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't have a lot of foliage, it doesn't have a lot of rocks, it's a bit empty again, and again, feels like it could be avoidable by like adding a few more logs, a little bit more rocks.
Couple of
It
plants,
seems
yeah.
easy to fix.
So now we are going up to the rope bridge, and at this point of the recording,
Okay. Yeah, we are.
we were lucky. We're not doing that again. It was very, very crowded there. Luckily, we went on the rope bridge already a little bit earlier in the morning when there wasn't a line. But yeah, it was another one of those cases where this place, across the day, it keeps getting busier and busier as more people are taking their time slot. But yeah, as we walk up to the rope bridge entrance, we get a top-down view of the Jaguar enclosure. Doesn't help make it look any better, sadly.
Yeah, but it does kind of like point into a direction that there is an outdoor exhibit, because there is that hallway that seems to go outside
Somewhere, yeah. And yeah, up here you've got a lot narrower path compared to the rest of the greenhouse. Of course, this place doesn't have to be accessible because, well, it's going to this rope bridge, so you're kind of funneling the guests into this sort of queue area. And now we're going on top of Vertigo, which I guess is the name of this parkour.
No, I think it's just a warning that you'll get vertigo if you...
That's also possible. But yeah, and here we are in the far corner of Edenya, and you can really take in the size of it all, especially with the people walking in the background. It's insane.
It's massive. When we saw the first video, and we'll talk about the first video that we saw later in this video, we thought it was going to be much smaller and that we'd only be like half a day in here. But in the end, we spent almost the entire day in this place.
Yeah, and we did not do really any double takes. We just when we did go and explored every path we could find.
Almost every path, because we
almost every
forgot
path. We missed
areas.
like one or two. But yeah, no, we spent. I think we went in here like half an hour after opening to kind of have some time to eat and avoid the kind of startup rush.
Yeah.
And we left an hour before closing.
Correct.
So yeah, we spent a long time in here. It's a full day kind of zoo experience, which is insane and awesome.
And this is also a good segue to talk about what Edenya really is about, because we've went from animals from South America to animals from Africa, back to animals from South America. This is an entire area about the equator, so it's not one specific area in the world, it's the entire equator. But I do really like the fact that they did end up sticking to one architectural style and focus then on the South American architecture. I really do like that. It's a good choice. In Animal Kingdom, their main area where you enter is also based on the equator, and a lot of the architecture is a mix of all kinds of different things. And for me, that is a little bit tacky. I much more prefer there to be like one specific style of architecture throughout the entire experience.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's interesting. It is equator. We basically only have South America and Africa and the Komodo dragons, which just makes them also. I guess, and the Gharial, I guess.
Yeah, and the Gharial.
Yeah, it does make the Komodo dragon stand out all the more in the moment, I think. There's one more thing I quickly want to mention about the canyon, and we're gonna sound like a broken record here, but I do hope some more planting can get added to the top of it. It does look like it has soil, so if that has some more plants on it, it's gonna look a lot more beautiful as well. But yeah, from up on this ropes course, you can really take in the entire space and all of Edenya and see. This is just how massive that sloth exhibit is, for instance.
Yeah.
You've got the canyon in the background. Here you have the food court and the manatee enclosure and the shark tank. All of it is huge and awesome, and it's really cool that you get to see it up from on top like this.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the manatee tank. I think a lot of people are underestimating how big this is. This is like someone we know works at a zoo that has manatees, and they told us that it's basically like 4 times the size that they have. So that's like, it's really big.
It's really big. And the only worry I have here is that this ropes course in summer is going to be so freaking hot.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. Oh yeah, and over here you can see we have our little giant otter. He doesn't want plants in this enclosure. He's getting rid of them.
Like, I complain about the fact that some of the enclosures don't have enough plants and stuff, but yeah, when I see that little guy, I'm like, okay, I get it. I am going to say, I like the rope bridges, but I don't like it when there's a whole bunch of people on there.
Oh, people were so impatient. They were
really annoying. They were so impatient, and there's no real way to pass. So they had
until you get to the towers at least.
Yeah, you're almost pushed against the end of the bridge, and I'm not the bravest person in the world, I'll admit that.
You had some vertigo.
Yeah, I really didn't like it when people were like pushing me so that they could pass by. Like, just wait a fucking minute. We're far enough into the video, I can swear.
I think I swear like 1 minute in, it's fine. So at the end of the rope bridge, you pass through a little double door system, which for some reason is at the top. I would expect them to put that at the bottom of the towers, but whatever works, I guess. Because the end of the rope bridge puts you back in the Squirrel Monkey enclosure, where we went down the stairs to do our little extra loop. And we're walking past the Otter enclosure via the upper path again.
Yeah.
And from up here, we get to see more of the Drill and the Brezza Monkey enclosure, and here we can see one of the signs of the flying foxes that will be flying about the place soon.
Mm-hmm.
We also see the butterfly enclosure from up top. Well, basically you just see the netting construction of it.
Yeah, and I think in general the netting construction is quite subtle across.
Yeah, it's not very obtrusive indeed. Yeah. Also, past that, we now get to the alligator enclosure. And this is another one that, on photos and videos that were shared, looked very mediocre, but is actually quite spacious. You have a small separation area and a much larger enclosure over here, as you can see.
Yeah, it's much better than expected. Again, it's another situation where I feel like, hey, just put in like a few more rocks in the water and it's going to look better, and like maybe plant some plants, I don't know, but overall it does look quite good.
Yeah, and here we have a bit of an education sign about all those statues, so here they are a bit more prominent, but yeah, that's for a good reason to kind of teach you about what they are all about. And that brings us back to the entrance of the rope course, but we're gonna go down and see the alligators from this kind of dock area, where there is another little food stand with a very AI-generated icon, I think. The logo, at least, felt very AI. But here you can buy some pastas, things like that, and you can get a view of both the alligators, but also the otters in the background through this window over here that goes into the otter enclosure. So you can not only look at the alligators, but also at another enclosure.
I'm so proud of you.
Yay. And in the back you can see a cave for the lazy river, which would be so much cooler.
It would be so much cooler if we could go in there and have a view from. Yeah, it's a thing we're gonna keep telling people. The lazy river could really be a really nice guest area. It's just a shame that they decided to continue with it.
Yeah, as we pass by the alligators, now we're getting to kind of the final area that we haven't explored yet, which is the otter and hippo enclosures. So this is, again, some places where you can book a room in these kind of stilt houses and have a view of these animals over here. And the otter enclosure is really, really big. It has a couple of land areas as well. It had a slide, as we could see slightly, but we'll get a better view of that later. And I think currently they only have the single otter. At least we only saw this guy.
Yeah.
But he was going all over the place, exploring, and it was so much fun. He was so curious about everything still. He was constantly trying to jump from his island onto the Dreza monkey area, which was really funny. And yeah, adjacent to this enclosure, you have the waterways of the hippos, which you have these houses for. And as you can see, even the houses have misters built into them.
Which is really cool. One thing that I want to address is I saw a lot of people criticize the fact that both the pygmy hippo and the giant otter have a lot of water. And yeah, it's entirely correct that both species are more terrestrial, but like they still have the adequate amount of land. They just have more water than in other zoos. And frankly, and I'm going to be extremely honest here, I think it's a good thing because we've seen these animals in the water almost the entire time.
Almost the entire day, yeah. Especially this hippo over here was just going back and forth in the water all day. The otter was constantly swimming around. It was great, and they seemed to be having a great time. Quite frankly.
Exactly. If you would be there and they only spend time on the land the entire time, then I would say then the criticism is fair. But in my opinion, the animals spend a lot of time in the water as well, and they seem to enjoy it. So
yeah, as you can see over here, the Dreza monkey finally was outside, so we had some fun enjoying them. The pygmy hippo even went into the deeper part of the water, where it's in front of the windows of the houses, because you can book the top house, but also one that has a partial underwater view. And like we said with the shark tanks, these houses actually have some visitor spaces in between them, so you as a visitor can also get these experiences and get these great views and get an idea of what kind of views you would be getting from the houses. So
and there are going to be fishes there are going to be fish inside of the pygmy hippo enclosure as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be fun to see this area actually be done.
That's one of the things that we'll talk about in the end.
So over here, again, we have in between the houses an underwater view for the otter as well. Sadly, when we got to that part, the otter decided to no longer swim and just kind of vibe on his island for a moment. So that was too bad, but we did get some really great views of him being cute in the dirt here and chasing his own tail and stuff, which was so much fun. Just a really great area, in my opinion. And it will be really fun to see the drill walking around in the background as well. I can't wait for that. It was a shame that they didn't come outside, because those should already be here.
But the animals all really do have the choice whether they want to go out or not. So I really appreciate that kind of exhibit design, where the animals are just free to decide whether they're going to come out or not, and that is what every zoo should do.
It just made the day one experience a little confusing. Like, okay, is this animal not showing itself? Is it not here yet? Is it coming soon? What's the situation here? So at the end of this underground hallway along the stilt houses, if you were to go straight, I think you would get to the underwater view of the alligators. We kind of forgot that was there and it didn't go there, so we missed out on that. But I'm sure you can imagine what that would look like. And then up here, you can see the slide of the otters. They didn't use it quite yet, sadly.
No.
But it would be so much fun to see them actually use it as a slide. And then we're on to kind of the final bit along these stilt houses as well. We could already, when we were walking along the other side, see some aquariums. There's also more of the lazy river over here going alongside the manatees and the kind of mangrove forest area. But here's some more shallower fish tanks, which by the looks of it on the map seem to have some kind of fiddler crab icon. Currently there's just some fishes.
I think it's going to look really cool once the mangrove trees grow in a little bit more. They're very small right now, but once they're bigger, I think it's really going to look nice.
I feel like Burgers Mangrove kind of started out with similar sized trees. Compared to this. So I don't think it will take that many years for it to start looking like Burgers Mangrove. So that'll be really exciting. This pathway leads into a small cave once again. Nothing much inside of this cave. There's a mirror here for some reason, which nobody needs to see us, so we'll just walk past that. Another elevator in here to get in between the levels from the stilt houses. And then, yeah, this is the staircase where we were just at. Down here, there is one more shortcut, and this is what we mentioned when we were in the shark room, basically. Over here, this pathway also leads into the shark room. So there's definitely going to be some congestions of people coming from different directions and meeting up here, and it's going to be a mess. I can only imagine.
I am going to point out one more thing, though. I am a really big fan of the fact that there are so many ramps, there are so many elevators. I have seen that every hotel room has a adjusted hotel room with like bigger facilities for people who are in a wheelchair. I can really appreciate that as someone who does web development and is really likes to focus on accessibility. This is a major thing. It shouldn't be something that we should applaud, but given the fact that they've done it, I am going to applaud them for doing it, and I hope more.
It should be the norm, but it's really nice that it's done very well here. I agree.
Yeah.
So now we're walking up to the final exhibit, which is the Meerkat and Battered Fox exhibit. This one's pretty nice. It's definitely a lot more furnished compared to the other ones. There's a variety of substrate by the looks of it. There's an attempt at landscape immersion in the back, which sadly you can kind of see the moat quite clearly over here. But yeah, I like this exhibit quite a lot. The battered foxes aren't in here yet. I saw that they are still in the oasis, but surely they will be moving in here soon. It's definitely a species you want to introduce slowly to the meerkats, because the meerkats can be quite dominant, which I heard was the case at the Beeksberg as well. So I hope it all works out. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We've seen the last habitat. We've seen all of Edenya, except for the one or two paths that we missed. So now it's time for some final thoughts. I think the first thing that I want to get into is something that, despite absolutely loving our time in Edenya, want to make that clear, there was something that I think noticeably frustrated us throughout the video, the day one experience. It definitely left some things to be desired. Which I think is important to keep in mind, especially if you're planning to go to Edenya right now. It's simply not done.
Yeah.
And to a degree, I can understand certain things needing to be refined. I can understand that plants still need to grow in, that some animals are still adjusting and less visible. But it was just glaringly obvious to me that this project was rushed out the door, which is an absolute shame. Wherever you go, you will find unfinished areas where the rockwork isn't too well done, pipes sticking out of walls, exposed wires, I hope none of which were live, because that would actually be dangerous. There were several railings that would stain your hands, literal holes in the wall.
I feel like if they had postponed the opening day with like just a week, like just open the next weekend, I think a lot of the issues would have been fixed, because I mentioned it on your Discord as well, like if every time a group of people passed by you, there was like one in like 5 chances that it was a bunch of people from the park with zip ties and all kinds of equipment.
Things were still being planted. Like they were putting up the directional signage still. So many tiny things were still being wrapped up. I know that my friends in some cases really were worried that some things were rushed that just won't be able to fix. Like they pointed out that, at least to them, it felt like a lot of the glass viewing areas were, like the glass felt very wonky to them. I didn't necessarily notice that. I figured it was just because of how thick the glass was. But if they actually made mistakes installing the glass, then that will definitely hurt the entire area for years to come, which would suck.
Yeah.
But to elaborate a bit more on the missing animals, of course, we don't know whether all of these were actually missing or if they just didn't show themselves while we were there. If we hadn't come back to the Galago, for instance, we would have missed those as well. Also, after we did our voiceover, we learned that there was a shark present after all. We just didn't see it. So you can never guarantee you'll see an animal, of course. But just in case you were wondering, we didn't see the manatees, Jaguar, Dik Dik, red duiker, sharks, drill, fennec fox, African spur tortoise, brush-tailed porcupine, red river hog, bed-eared fox, giant anteater, maned wolf, gharial, the spiders of the walkthrough spider area, and many of the fish tanks still felt quite a bit empty. Now we do know that the drill and the jaguar, for instance, have been behind the scenes for a while, and I'm expecting some other animals to come very soon as well. Like I said, the battered fox are still in the oasis. I think the red river hogs are still in the African area. At least I saw some food in their enclosure there, so assuming they are the ones that will be moved to Edenya, I don't think that should all take that long. Really the only glaring omission animal-wise were the manatees, but we'll get to that in a bit. All in all, not seeing some animals is just part of the day one experience. And in return, the animals you do see are very likely to be super curious, out and about and exploring their new enclosures. So that makes up for a lot of what you don't get to see, if you ask me. With that said, it does add to that feeling of the area not being entirely done, which is what makes it difficult to say, you need to go see this right now. What I will say is, if you are going to Pairi Daiza now, and you have the time to also go to Edenya, because it does take up another at least half or if not a full day to see it all. If you're going to Pairi Daiza and you do not plan to come back in the upcoming years, you should go to Edenya just to have seen it.
Yeah.
If you are already familiar with the rest of Pairi Daiza, it's definitely a lot of fun to come to Edenya and have a look. But if you have the opportunity to wait, I would wait for at least... I hate that we cannot say how long. It depends on when the rest of the animals arrive, when all of the small bugs will have been fixed.
Yeah.
But definitely in a year or so, it should be a must-see, pretty much.
Yeah, we said it to each other already, but it's a solid 7 out of 10 right now, and it really does have the potential to become like a solid 8 out of 10 in the future. It will never be a 9 out of 10 as long as the lazy river is in. Hint, hint. But it is already quite solid, and I can only see it becoming better in the future.
Yeah. If they get rid of the fucking time slots. Although, maybe not get rid of it. Something needs to change. So my biggest gripe with the time slots right now is you have to pick a time slot. You can only enter during that time slot. You're allowed to stay throughout the entire day, but you are so limited by this because you cannot leave and come back. So basically you are forced to eat inside of Edenya, where, as you could see, especially right now, the choices are quite limited. And the biggest issue with the time slots is people aren't going to leave because they aren't going to be able to come back. So throughout the day, it just kept getting busier and busier and busier because more of the time slots unlocked. So in the morning, it was really quite nice. And there weren't too many people. You were able to see everything and get up to enclosures. But yeah, as the day went on, it got busier. I mean, you saw the line for the rope bridge. It just got crazy. And I think today it wasn't even sold out yet. So I don't want to know how it's going to be even later on. Yeah, the thing is definitely built for capacity, but I wonder how much it can handle really, and how much is going to be fun to be inside of.
Now that we've been in there, I'm starting to understand what they meant by crowd control. And like, it is indeed built for capacity. The paths are really big. There's a lot of room. But yeah, there needs to be an improvement on the system. I wouldn't mind if it is just an extra, that you have to pay extra for it, but there's no time slots. And that they just say, look, there's a limited amount of people that can enter, and they have more than enough data that they can collect right now. I fully think that they have all the data already to make a good prediction of how many people they can allow in Edenya at a given time. So, as much as I dislike the fact that it is an upcharge, if you want to do crowd control, then just do the upcharge and get rid of the the time slots and let us go in and out of Edenya as
Yeah.
much as we want.
Which you can do if you stay at the resort. But
Yes.
it is not the compromise that I want.
Yeah, no, it's a very expensive compromise. So there's one more thing that I want to talk about, and we talked about this beforehand as well. And I might not be making friends by saying this, but honestly, it's something that I have to get off my chest because it negatively influenced our experience ahead of visiting Edenya.
Yeah, leading up to Edenya, definitely.
Yeah, so there's always been a large group of people who really don't like Pairi Daiza, and that is perfectly fine. The zoos, the style of zoos, that is a spectrum. You have zoos like Vertigo Zoo on one side, who are very much into recreating very natural habitats and putting you inside of those natural habitats. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have zoos like Pairi Daiza and Wildlands, where there's a lot more architecture and there's a lot more focus on human culture as well. So like, if you are really, really a big fan of the more naturalistic approach, then it makes total sense that a park like Pairi Daiza or Wildlands isn't your cup of tea, and that is perfectly fine. But honestly, in this past few years, I've seen an increase from people being cautious to being skeptical to being basically negative about almost anything that came out of this project. And I am quite sad about that, because that negativity has started to spread amongst the larger zoo community, even to people who have never seen the zoo in real life, sometimes only basing their opinion on a few pictures, sometimes not even flattering pictures, and like secondhand information that we can never really confirm. And it all led up to the moment where the footage was released from the press day, which I'm sorry to the person who made the footage, but it wasn't really representative of what it looks like in real life. It does look a lot better and a lot bigger than in the footage. And
I think a lot of that came down to it being a cloudy day and there being no visitors, so you got a really bad sense of the scale and stuff. But it gave us the wrong impression.
Yeah, it all culminated to a point where one of our mutual friends jokingly said that they hoped that we would be negative about the project in this video, and I really was sad about that, because like, where have we gotten if the main reaction to this big new project, this new cool thing that a zoo is going to do, is just being negative about it? It really sucked.
I hope it's bad, so we have more reasons to bitch about Pairi Daiza.
Yeah, it really sucked, and I was really sad about it, and I was really mad at myself for like allowing it to get me down.
For it.
Because we both had it. We had the day before, we were like, oh no, oh yeah, people are right, maybe it isn't good, maybe we're only going to spend like half a day here. And then we went there, and it was pretty freaking awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, we had a great day.
Yeah.
We actually had, even for all of its day one shortcomings, which I want to stress, a lot of our bad experiences, if you can even call it that, is from the fact that they opened too soon. I will give it a couple of months and the animals will be here. It's already going to be so much better. Give it a couple of more months and all of the plants will have settled down. It's going to look so much better. This is a place that will get better and better with time.
Yeah, and we can be critical of things. There's a reason why we've put this segment at the end of the video and not at the start, because you've noticed that there are things that we really don't like, and none of us want to say that you can't be critical or you can't have feedback, but man, the negativity surrounding this project really had a bad impact on me.
It seemed like it was a lot of bad faith.
Yeah, and I hope that in the future people will be able to give things the benefit of the doubt again. I hope that people who have a very negative opinion of the park and have never been there get the chance to visit it once, because it is a whole different experience when you're actually in the zoo. And if you still don't like it, that's entirely fine. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't like, but I just had to get this off my chest. It really bummed me out the day before we were going there. We were already kind of bummed out due to the whole ticket thing, which Goran is going to talk about. But like, it luckily didn't ruin the experience on the day itself, but the whole process of every new thing that was announced regarding this project being met by heavy criticism to almost just blatantly negativity, that did not help. And I'm very glad that the project itself looks so much better in real life, and that we really had a lot of fun when we were there. That's the end of my rant.
Also, just the marketing launch was kind of a letdown at times. Yeah, it wasn't clear what you were getting a ticket for when the ticket sales opened.
Yeah.
Like, after the ticket sales were done, suddenly it became clear which animals would be missing.
Yeah, and I can fully get that you're not changing all your marketing material. But if you have a single animal that is so prominently placed all across your marketing material, to the point that it's the main animal on your ticket, and I'm talking about the manatee, and I'm a little bit annoyed that it wasn't there yet, because manatees are one of my favorite animals. But like, at least have the decency to mention that when people are buying tickets. If there's a manatee on my ticket, I don't want to read in the frequently asked questions, is there going to be a manatee when I go to Edenya on opening day? No, there isn't going to be one. Like, that's like putting a giant panda on a ticket and saying like, oh yeah, but there won't be giant pandas when you join.
Yeah, but only if you search in the FAQ. In the FAQ, not even a disclaimer on the website or anything. Like, you have to search for it. It's really misleading. It feels misleading. It feels misleading.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It's not a frequently asked question. It's just a correct assumption that the animal that is on your ticket is going to be there. Like, it's stupid, but that was that, in the fact that they announced the whole there's going to be a reservation thing and there's going to be a additional fee to enter.
Yeah, they announced that like a week and a half in advance before opening, and then the ticket still wasn't available yet until 5 days before the opening, and it was an absolute disaster. It was it was horribly managed. I hope they learn from it for future things. I don't know if they're ever going to have a project of this scale that's going to require that, but it was... For us, it was very annoying because we were afraid that it was going to sell out, and we wanted to go on opening day, not just to be able to make this video, but because my friends are going to be moving soon, so we really wanted to go this day so that they could be able to join still. And yeah, that made it very stressful for us, this ticket sale.
It wasn't fun.
Everything was crashing, we got put in a queue, it was awful. It was awful.
It was a terrible experience, and for me, it solidifies the thing that I've noticed throughout my own career as a developer. Just because a company is big and has a lot of budget, doesn't mean that they did the internal transformation to be a company of that size. Pairi Daiza clearly still operates the way it always has operated so far, and I think this is one of the first times that they probably are going to they hit their head against the wall and realize, oh, our way of working that we always had isn't going to keep working if we keep growing the way that we're growing right now. So it's like, I understand it on some level because I've seen it in many companies so far. But at the same time, I'm also like, so many companies have messed it up before you. There's enough examples for you to learn out of that. You shouldn't really keep making the same mistakes as everyone else is doing. So Yeah.
Alright, so those were all the ranting things that we stuffed at the end. We can keep ranting about how the marketing people used a bunch of AI images or how they don't know what a Dik Dik looks like, but I think we've ranted enough. All in all, these are mainly startup problems, so
Yes.
With time, like we've said many times already, things will get a lot better.
Yeah.
So
Please take that away from the video as well. We had a really great day. It's already very solid. If you can't wait, go. You won't regret it. If you really can't wait, then you don't mind that not everything is there yet and not everything is perfect.
Exactly.
And if you say like, I can wait, just wait a few more months. Maybe go at the end of the year, like in September or October or like the end of summer. Like just go, just give it some time. But like,
Yeah.
please don't take the end of this video of us ranting as us not being happy with the experience that we had yesterday, because we both went with smiles on our faces. We went home with smiles on our faces. We had a really great day.
The very cringy Edenya effect commercial is actually real.
Yes, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about that. There is something about the windows and the glass that they use. The way it diffuses the light in the morning is absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, that also does not show up in the footage well. Like,
No.
Your camera like color corrects it in some way that it looks a lot more flat and white. Indeed, it looks really beautiful.
I stopped you multiple times. I was like, look at the light!
You did.
Okay, let's wrap it up, because we've been talking for like an hour and a
We've
half.
almost doubled the video in length by this final thought section, I think. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you found this informative. Hope you liked seeing Edenya through our eyes. And we'll see more of Pairi Daiza later this year, maybe, because Iben and I are gonna visit it again together.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining, Iben.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Alright, some very quick final thoughts now that I've edited the video. We just learned that there is an underground/underwater viewing area for the Jaguars that we missed sadly, but that does sound pretty cool. Not that it saves the enclosure, but still. Also, we forgot to mention that thanks to Edenya, Pairi Daiza finally has a bathroom with drinkable water. Woohoo! We're in the 21st century, everyone. Too bad that it's in the additional fee part of the zoo, but at least it's something. And lastly, I touched a little bit on the battered foxes coming from the oasis, but of course many of the animals in Edenya came from other parts in the zoo, meaning that we'll probably see some changes going around. The tapir and capybara enclosure is already being changed a bit. It now has vicuña, although the old signage hasn't been removed yet, which is interesting. The meerkat enclosure in the oasis also seemed to be empty. The sign was still there, but we just learned that that doesn't mean much, so whatever. And the pygmy hippo, like stilt village area, was also closed off, seemingly just for maintenance, but I wonder what will happen to the pygmy hippo enclosure now that the pygmy hippos are in Edenya. That's all that I really had the time to check. I wonder what else will happen around the zoo, for instance in the aquarium building, but only time will tell, I suppose. Anyway, that was it. Thanks for watching once again, and let me know what you think of Edenya down in the comments below. Bye bye!